I'm so excited to be here with you today. We've got a great show planned. I was hoping for you to open up the chat and have some interaction. So let's get started though. This is our fourth week of talking about this amazing book, The Four Agreements. And it's written by Don Miguel Ruiz. If you haven't picked it up yet, if you've been following along this month, I highly encourage you to pick up a copy. It's really an incredible little book. So, what we are going to talk about today is the fourth agreement. And I'm going to share my screen. Oh, what happened? There we are. Okay. And these are the four agreements we've been talking about all month. We started with be impeccable with your word, right? Speaking with integrity, reminding yourself what you're talking about. Then moved into not taking anything personally. So what others do isn't actually because of you. I'm really curious how this has gone in your month. Then last week was don't make assumptions. And today is always do your best. And so, what Don Miguel Ruiz says here is your best is going to change from moment to moment. It'll be different when you're healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self judgment, self abuse, and regret. So, this agreement, always do your best, I find as a fascinating one because really it is taking the first three and putting them into action. So you're not going to be impeccable with your word, or maybe not in every single moment yet, right? It takes some practice. So that's part of this is putting this into action. And what I love about always do your best is that I always thought for the longest time that doing your best meant doing it perfectly. Like that's what your best was doing it perfectly. And it wasn't until this fourth agreement that I understood, oh my gosh, of course, your best changes from day to day, from moment to moment. Your best will be different from on a good day from a day where you're stuck in the middle of a trigger or conflict or when you've had a really long week at work or when you always do your best. It's just to know that it's not about having superhuman strength or being perfect. It's just your best in that particular moment. And I want you to kind of feel into your body on that idea of your best is enough. And see if you have some judgment about what that is. That could your best be enough. Not perfect, right? Just the best you can do in that moment. That is enough. If you had parents like mine, or I'm guilty of this with my kids for sure, is pushing them, you know, some, I know in my childhood, my best was never enough. And so I run up against that judgment about my best being enough. And so if that's you, I want you to be really intentional this week about this agreement and notice, where are you pushing past your best in a moment? And how can you interrupt that pattern, right? What does it look like to push past your best? I know for me, it ends up looking like exhaustion and resentment and frustration, right? Because it's not honoring where you are in that moment. My husband and I used to use this tool from Brene Brown, and she talks about noticing where your capacity is. So you arrive home from work, you're ready to jump in to be with the family. That's great. But maybe you've had a really long day at work and you're not ready to jump in with the family. So a great way to check in with yourself is to be like, percent am I right now? So you're at 0% or you're at 100%, you're somewhere in between. And to be able to do the next thing, how can you honor what percent you're at? So like if I got home from work and I said I'm at 20% and he said I'm at 20%, what that would look like would be us ordering in dinner instead of making it, right? Watching a movie with the kids instead of having a long conversation about whatever rule got broken, right? It lets yourself off the hook a little bit. And so it's really about noticing how much is in your tank, right? So are you on empty or are you filled up? Are you ready to go? Because both are possible or anywhere in between. But when we're constantly depleting our tank, when we don't stop to pause and notice what capacity we have, that's where we get into trouble, right? Because when you take it below empty, right, or when you're really on low fumes, that's where you get into the breakdown zone where you don't have any energy, where you do have that resentment and exhaustion. So I've got a poll for you all today. When you think about doing your best, here I'm going to launch this poll. When you think about doing your best today, do you feel confident and you have plenty to give? Do you feel capable, but maybe aware of your limits? Do you feel pressured to give more than you have? Are you already behind? Or have you never considered that there could be a difference in doing your best? And this last one is, I haven't considered my limits. So go ahead and pop your answers into that poll. How are you feeling today? And how long has it been since you checked in, right? And I know this feeling. We've got some confidence, some plenty to give. That's fantastic. I know for that a huge chunk of my life before I got into this work and the four agreements and understanding this, I always felt behind. Always felt behind. So I'm going to end that poll. Thank you for answering. And I get it. When you do feel behind, if anybody listening has been in that zone, you do end up in this pressure to keep going. But as I said, right, we've got to take the time to honor where we are because like Don Miguel Ruiz says, is our best changes from day to day. So if we're giving from where there's nothing to give, then it's sacrifice. And a moment of sacrifice might be okay, right? An entire day might be a little harder on you and your body. A whole career, that's a lot to overgive. So, and that's where you do end up with the health problems of burnout and maybe things like depression or overwhelm or sickness in your body. So I want you to consider where you are in this 0 to 100% scale, right? Just start practicing that this week and noticing when you have something that you feel like you need to do, what is your best? What if you asked yourself, what is my best in this moment? And let it be different from moment to moment. You might not have all there is to give in every single moment. But I promise that if you start to notice this more, you will see that it matters, that you take the time to give yourself those breaks and those rests to recharge, then you do have a better best to give. So in this agreement, Don Miguel Ruiz, he talks about not being superhuman, just being your best. But there's another part to this agreement, and I want to read you a quote from his book. He says, doing your best is taking the action because you love it, not because you're expecting a reward. Most people do exactly the opposite. They only take action when they expect a reward, and they don't enjoy the action. So I want you to contemplate that for a moment. What if you were to do something because you love it, or because you love what happens as a result of it? Maybe not because you'll get the reward. Ruiz offers that you can't do your best if you're not doing what you love, which is kind of wild idea, right? So, and I know that the pushback of this usually is, but I have to. I have to go to work. I have to get the paycheck. And I have to have the house. I have to, have the family, whatever it is the things are that are the have tos. And then we work all week long because we have to. And that have to is actually a huge energy drain and will keep you from being able to do your best because it has a different energy than something that you love to do. So if you take an action just for the sake of doing it, there's more enjoyment. So this week, I want you to see how much of that you feel like you can add into your life. And then I've got one more piece of this. We talked about, in the first agreement, we talked about being impeccable with your words. And I think there are a couple words here that could help. What if we moved from saying that you have to saying that you get to, right? I get to be a parent. I don't have to be a parent. And I get to build a business. I don't have to. Just that simple change of phrase can really make all the difference in how you feel about what you're about to do. And the other thing is, then my second tip here is to find your why. So, why are you living the life the way you are? What is it for? So, let's say it was for the money. Then you would ask yourself another why. You'd say, why is that important to me? And I want you to do 5 whys. I'm sure you've all done this exercise before, but it's so important to connect with why you're doing what you're doing. So your next why might be so I can have a healthy, happy life, right? And why might that be important? Because life is here to be enjoyed. And so you can see where you're moving your focus and your energy from this place of like, I have to, and this sacrifice and victim, to this place of you get to and your why. Because your why is really motivating. And so if we can bring that motivation back into what you're doing, your ability to do it in the best way you can will also return. It might feel like a subtle shift, but connecting to your purpose will change everything about your ability to be your best and just not be so drained by all those things you felt like you had to do. And so, if you really, the other side of this is, if there's really no enjoying what you are doing, if there's really no element, no why that you can come to that would make this feel good to you, what if you took a look at that? And do you think that you could make a change? And what intention could you set instead? This is talking more about that bigger picture of what do you want in your life? This is equally as important as why you want it and might be where you want to start first. So, and this agreement is all about action. So, what it is that you want to create, what it is that you want to do. You might have a ton of ideas in your head, but you actually need to do something with them. And this last agreement, always do your best, asks you to do just that because it asks you to do the things that you love. one more quote from Don Miguel Ruiz from this last agreement before we head into a meditation. He says, "You were born with the right to be happy. You were born with the right to love, to enjoy, and to share your love. You're alive. So take your life and enjoy it. You don't need to know or prove anything. Just to be, to take a risk and enjoy your life is all that matters. You have the right to be you." When I pause into that quote, it's something that I call vital worth. Just this idea that we don't have anything to prove. You just get to be you in this life. And so I'm challenging you to say, okay, what are the things that you can do that lets you feel the most like you? So we've been on a journey with this in this month with this Four Agreements book. And I hope it's helping to change some of maybe what you always did, right? Because what you've always done doesn't mean what you have to continue to do. And so this book is asking you to take a look at that and see what it is in your life that you love and maybe some of the things that you want to change. So now I want to move us into a meditation this morning. So when you're ready, I want you to close your eyes. And today I want you to find your body. I know it's a silly thing to say, but just notice your body. And start with the top of your head. What does it feel like at the top of your head? What does it feel like into your shoulders, down into your fingertips? Where can you feel that aliveness, that sense of you in your body? Bring your attention to your torso. Feel the rise and fall of your chest or the opening of your belly with your inhale and the contraction with your exhale. Maybe notice your knees or your toes. What does it feel like to be you today? If there are any places in your body that are calling for your attention, give it your attention now. What does it want you to know? What is it trying to say? We've got some resistance to this fourth agreement. Always do your best. If it's got you feeling a little tight in your body, we're going to work with that today. So I want you to imagine that a balloon forms in front of you. And you're going to put all those have tos, all of your to-dos, all of anything that might be distracting you from this meditation. You're going to let all of that energy flow into that balloon. And then you're going to imagine that that balloon goes to the top of a skyscraper or the top of a mountain, somewhere to give you some space from it to just be you. It will find you again in the right time. You don't have to worry. You won't forget it all. But give yourself a space to breathe just into being you. Excellent. Now today we are going to use something called a grounding cord. So what I want you to do is find your spine. Yep, all the vertebrae in your upper neck, and your upper back, the middle of your back, all the way to the base of your spine, all the way to your tailbone, right at the bottom of your spine. And then I want you to imagine that there's a colored beam of light or a tree root or a plant stem, some sort of conduit that you could connect right at your tailbone, right at the base of your spine. So maybe you connect this colored beam of light, and then you're going to imagine that you can grow and extend it through whatever you're sitting on, through whatever's under that, and into the layers of the earth. Goes into the bedrock and the magma and whatever's under that. Let yourself imagine that it grows and extends all the way to the center of the earth. So you have this connection from the base of your spine to the center of the earth, and it's called a grounding cord. Its purpose is to help you release any energy you might be carrying that you no longer need. So if you have any resistance to the four agreements or to choosing your life or whatever else it could be, stress, frustration, sacrifice, just imagine that leaving your body, having this invitation to release down this grounding cord, go all the way to the center of the earth where it'll be changed and transmuted. Here we are, supported by the earth once again. You might know it's leaving. You might just intend that whatever isn't serving you in this moment can just head down that grounding cord. I want you to take a moment to ask yourself what you need to be your best. What is it that you need today? What would help? What would help you be the best version of you today? How could you take care of yourself? What's just one thing? It could be one little thing. It could be one big thing that you could do today. Maybe make an intention to remember that. Then I want you to imagine that there's a great big golden sun above your head. And it's filled with your light. It's filled with your energy. And I want you to imagine that you could call your energy back from anywhere you might have left it, any time you might have left it, anyone you might have left it with, and just let that golden sun fill and overfill with your energy. Any place you might have over given that's ready to come back to you now. And I want you to think about a vibration you'd like to experience in your day. Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's love or joy or peace. Whatever you pick is just right. Whatever word comes to you, pick one. And I want you to write that word on the outside of your sun. Let that energy absorb and become that vibration. And then imagine letting it fill you. So form a hole in the bottom of that golden sun and let that golden light pour into the top of your head. Let it fill in that space behind your eyebrows. Let it fill your forehead, into your jaw, down to your chin. See if you can slow down and notice what it feels like as it flows into your neck, into your shoulders. What does this vibration feel like as it hits your arms and your fingertips? You're just noticing, practicing being the observer. What does it feel like as it fills your central nervous system and your circulatory system and your digestive system? All the amazing systems in our bodies and all the organs in your torso. What does it feel like as it flows through your pelvic bowl and your hips? Down into your legs. See if you're able to stick with it. Your knees, your ankles, your toes. And there's so much energy that it spills out the bottom of your feet and surrounds you. Notice what it feels like to be you. You were born with the right to be happy, the right to love and to enjoy this life. When you're ready, you can stretch your body, open your eyes, come back to being online in class. I'm so grateful you took the time to meditate today with me and with everybody who's beyond this recording. My business is called A Light in Sight. I am adding my information into the chat, but you can find me at alightinsight.com and you can find me on Fuel. So Fuel is this incredible app. If you haven't checked it out yet, it is time. It is filled with all these mini lessons that make your heart sing. They make you feel good. They help you do what you want to do in this life. And so I encourage you to check it out and find my work. And we'll be back with Mindset Matters on Monday. Danielle or John will be here. I'm not sure which one. And just know that I am so grateful that you took the time to be here today. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. But otherwise, I think we can just head into an incredible Monday, and I'll see you all very soon.